Hi everyone. I apologize because I did come and I did finish a review on this and it didn't save. And then I was just way too tired to redo it and frustrated. So, Bell Collective. Actually there's not much to say, but I will give a few bits of my opinion in regards to some of the topics here. Because not much technically happened on this episode, but the big issue that I had is okay, so we have Sonya and Sandra and Soguchi talking. It picked up where it left off. I'm gonna be honest. Soguchi, the more that you talk, the more that I'm not liking you. Because there's zero possibility that when I say zero, I mean zero possibility that you are going to sit here and try to blame her mother and talk about her mother's actions. And she is going to explain and defend her mother like she should, and explain that you are also culpable, which you are. So, because you had a stank attitude, I did think that you were the one to hit first. I was wrong. She did hit first, but you had a very, very stank attitude. You know, there's a thing in law where, um, depending on aggression and tone of how people speak to someone, uh, it's an agitation that's taking place. And that's where you are. You agitate. So I'm not saying that she should not, that she um, should have hit you, but I am saying that you're not as innocent in this. And so Sandra is explaining to you your lack of innocent, your so Gucci is trying to play this innocent role, like, I can't believe this. There's no way that you are going to convince this young lady that her mother is the problem, and that you're, because you want her to take your side over her mother. That ain't gonna happen. Number two, so Marie tries to shift the conversation, and Marie shifts it to the grandbabies and the new babies. And so Gucci makes this dig about how, oh, I haven't seen the new baby. I've seen pictures and he's cute. And I'm just thinking, ma'am, you're not gonna Sandra's look was like, yeah, and I would have probably have been rude back and said, and she ain't gonna see him. So there's that. Tambra talking about how she's not focused on her relationship. Okay. But here's the issue that I have. So she's talking about new job things with her, with her manager slash partner slash whatever he is. And I have decided that she made a comment about her eggs being her embryos being frozen. She wants to get married before she has embryo. Let me ask a question. Does she know, is her embryos, did Desmond and her make embryos and freeze them? Because then that makes sense. Or is it that your eggs are frozen? I hate to be the basic, provide some basic health, but eggs frozen need sperm together to form an embryo to insert inside to grow a baby. Did you already have an egg and a sperm meet to form an embryo to grow? Because if that's the case, then, oh, so does the father know, whoever the father is of the embryos, does he know that you're going to be using them? I mean, I guess you don't have to notify them. Did you, and who's the father of these embryos? Do we, I know we don't need to know, but I think that she doesn't have embryos. I think she has an egg. And I wish she'd know the difference. Marie talking about her life, it's really sad. I wanted to make a comment about, the only comment I have about this really is that I went to see the Tina Turner play. And the thing is, different generation, I even reflect, I went Tina Turner play, and Tina Turner was raised by um her grandmother, because her mother left her, and her father eventually left her, and then she was raised by a grandmother. Okay. So my thing is this. I know that it is so mean and it is so jacked up, which it is. But I was talking to my mom about this, is that it's really, really, really unfortunate because we don't sit and recognize that right after slavery, during slavery, families were broken up consistently, constantly, right? And then right after slavery, there are some families that really sought to try to find each other. And then some of them, and then, but even on plantations that are now sharecroppers, a lot of them left. But the most vulnerable, and it's a really good book. Her name is, the book's name is Sugar. It's a kid's book. It's a kid's novel. She does a beautiful job. I think it's Joel Rhodes. Anyway, and she writes about the most vulnerable population when it comes to post-slavery was children and the elderly. So there are a lot of adults who were like, oh, I'll send back for you, and they may never send back. I'll go and make a life up north, and then I'll send for my kids, and they never send back. And so you have that. And then even after that generation, you had people who were still doing the whole, I'm going to make a life, I'm going to go out west, I'm going to go out north. So you had at least two generations of people still doing that. So as hard as Tina was, I I can grasp what was happening, right? But I feel the same way about Maria. We don't know. I mean, and I feel we don't know how our parents were fully formed in their formative years, like that 0 to 18, how they were nurtured, formed, given birth. I know Iana talks about pathology, and really it is like how we were created and formed and generated is such a is a big deal, because then it formulates into how they move in their adult life. And there's a reason why she got hooked on drugs. And also, as being a parent, I know me just in general, like especially after I had my first kid, I didn't realize that I was going through postpartum. I was just having like these mental breaks. I wasn't sure if I could do this. I didn't want to live anymore. And and then there's a break of fantasizing of just leaving, walking out the door and just leaving. And I think that we don't give a lot of understanding sometimes to how our parents were formed. And I'm not saying that Marie has to that Marie doesn't have to get over it, but I think that there's a level of understanding that we just have to embrace. And um I went to see my mother's when she was raised, about when I think my daughter was 2, and me and my husband, and we went to her town, and it gave us a better understanding of, like, especially for me, how she was formed. Like, it all made sense to me. Like, all of it made sense to me. And I was like, huh, I get it. You are, I get it. And it sounds very, very silly, but it makes a ton of sense as to why this all, like, it came together for me, because how hard you had to be, how enduring you had to be, how tough she was on me as a mother, how soft she is on my kids, especially my daughter, as a and then how she just felt like you had to work through. Like, it doesn't matter if things aren't going well for you, you have to figure out how to push through, right? There was no time to be soft. And I feel that Marie needs to kind of understand her mother's evolution. I also see how I think it'll free her. Latrice and Soguchi, they meet up. Letitia and Soguchi meet up. And Soguchi is sitting up here talking about how Latrice is the one that is the problem because she's the one who invited Selena, and Selena was her mouthpiece, and alluding to that Latrice, Selena, and Latrice's husband are in bed together. Like, that was not necessary. Like, I get that we can have these little small reads, but it was just a messy comment, and it was stupid. Akeisha and Marie, they meet. I love the fact the more this season, I really, really like Akeisha a lot. And I think a lot of this problem is that Akeisha was brought onto this show last season, unfortunately, and it just really focused on colorism, when I really don't think that we understood her enough. And she wasn't a colorist, I don't think. I think that she was just a very, very business focused, versus these other women who we now can clearly see are much more messier and much more. Akeisha is not a messy person. She is a business minded person constantly, and she builds her friendships around business focus concepts. I am 100% Akeisha. I love, like, I love having friends, and I am always constantly thinking about how we can make money together. That's just kind of how I operate. And so I understand Akeisha constantly. I'm like, how can we build? I'm thinking about that for my husband, thinking about that for my kids. I'm thinking for that for my every friendship that I have. I'm always like, how can we do this together? And to be honest, if you think about it, and if I go back and think, almost every, I wouldn't say every, but close to about 80% of everything I set my mind to, even if it was a thought, just a glimmer of a thought, um, comes to fruition. Now, it may not come to fruition immediately. Like, when I was in high school, I was a senior in high school, and I was like, I would love to, I literally was like, I should have helping people to get in college or tutoring. Like, I said that. How about, I was 17. No, I must have been a freshman in college. So I was 17, and I opened up the company when I was 30. And I had to think back. I was like, I really did think about doing this a long time ago. So I am Akeisha. And so it's kind of cool that Akeisha and Marie are kind of coming together. Now, let me tell you this. She's talking about her ROP for Ferris Street. That could be a very long process to get approval. So that is super dope. Okay. So here's the thing. I tell you, I watched this 2 or 3 times trying to figure out what in the heck is Marie talking about. So I'm hoping that I can do this right for you. So Keisha wants to introduce. Okay, Marie's friend named Keisha wanted to introduce Marie to another friend of hers that happened to know about a man who was engaged to Tamara. I hope I got that right. I think I got it right. If I don't, I'm sorry. They were engaged, but she was telling him that she was going to be on this show, Belle Collective, and he didn't want to be on the show. And so therefore, she was cheating on him with Damon, and the next thing he knew, their engagement was off and she was on the show with Damon. And then Marie claims he has all these receipts, these photos, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, so what was the motive? Why does he want to be this messy? Excellent question, Akeisha. Throw it back to you, Marie. I have a better question for all of this. Marie, why in the hell do you care? Why do you care? Run that to me. You don't know? I don't know either. Okay. Latrice and Letitia, they sitting there talking, having dinner. So she claims, so Latrice is like, I text everyone out of concern. She clearly thinks that, which is messy. So Gucci screenshotted the text that Latrice sent and then sent it back to Latrice. So Latrice is like, I don't understand what this is, but it clearly means that you're having a conversation about this text to other people. So you being messy, so I ain't, I'm gonna just leave it as it is. Letitia was like, you should be more mindful of who you bring around. And Latrice is like, why do I have to be mindful? I've always brought both of them around and they never had a problem then. So now why all of a sudden they having a problem? Legit question. So it was the cutest moment is when Latrice was like, let's toast. And Letitia's like, I ain't toasting to that. You're not toasting to that. And she's like, no. She's like, so I'm here to try to see if we can do a peace treaty, which made no sense. So Letitia has this break room, and I am Akeisha. She's the only one who dressed casual. Everybody else is trying to dress up. She's like, I ain't trust these people. Letitia explains that there was an intruder that had an attack on one of them. Girl, I don't like that language. And I did like the comment that she says, we sounded like a 90s breakup group, a 90s female group. That was funny. Anyway, that's not the point. So they break out in pairs, which I love this, how they break out in pairs and they're supposed to get together and talk. So Letitia and Akeisha get together. I have no idea. Akeisha is happy that they got together, but I have zero idea as to why we're having this conversation. Like, what is the point of this? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. But we don't know what happened because it skipped over to Tamara and Marie. And Marie begins to talk to her about how this chain of event and how she sat down and talked, how I guess Marie and Letitia was there. And so Tamara thought, she's like, I thought we were a sisterhood. Girl, you're on a reality show. Anyway, she thought that was a sisterhood and she's getting upset. She gets upset with Marie because she's like, look, he is an impulsive liar. I think she said compulsive liar. Anyway, and having all these police reports and so Marie wants to call. Oh no, Tamara doesn't say that. Marie talks about how Tamara is a compulsive liar, like, and that she's been having all these police reports, and she wants to hide her true identity. I still don't get why all this is necessary. I don't get why she's invested. Tamara gets up, she runs away, she's upset. I don't necessarily know why she's all that upset. I hate and then she's like, I'll just call my attorney. I don't know. I don't, I'm not understanding a lot of this, why anybody is this upset. I do think that Marie is doing too much and she needs a life. She needs to figure out something else. I know there has to be something else going on with her than this, having this amount of time to be invested in trying to find out that Tamara's a liar. But anyway, that is the Belle Collective. And again, I apologize. I'll be better next week. Bye.